I just discovered something very interesting. I obviously write down every single discovery in the world of logic, and I have 130 discoveries so far. It's fucked up. One of the beautiful ones is about beauty itself. It's proof of work, apparently. And it's the first rule that a scammer must learn. Is the best way to trick people is to give them the proof of work, give them something that they quickly tend to trust, right? What is the quickest way to make people trust you? Proof of work. And what is the best proof of work is beauty. It's something that people can sort of understand very intuitively, very quickly, just looking at things. The most intuitive thing ever. And what content I'm providing doesn't have proof of work, apparently. I'm very sad to announce that. But at the same time, I am working on my engine. I just sort of... I looked into this mouse right here. Now, I need lighting for this. This is a very slick design, right? It's very... not my gender type of design, let's put it that way. And on the other side, behind the silvery stuff, there's like this plastic side. I'm gonna show that as well. The plastic side. Seems like, oh, it's slick and shiny, but then it's plastic and cheap. Oh well. It's not like you're gonna get anything better for £10. What I just bought is actually a rechargeable and cordless mouse, wireless mouse, which is absolutely brilliant. And I looked at the mouse and I, well, it's beautiful. It has proof of work. So it's something you would trust. Except, obviously, it's really hard to say. Every single time I look at the beautiful objects out there in the world, and they sort of prove themselves. I can't argue with that. As long as everything is beautiful and very smooth. And you cannot just argue at all. Like, you take the most simplest games there are on the market, and they're pretty popular, and pretty obvious why they're popular. They're just so goddamn simple. It's ridiculous. There's no cylindrical ray tracing that I'm trying to fucking learn, and I can't get myself around the problem. Oh boy. Anyways, I guess I'm just gonna keep the episode triggers for the entire season. I'm gonna restart all of them. We'll see what happens. Man, I'm preparing for that reset. Holy shit. So what I'm gonna talk about now is the meaning of life, right? That's the topic of today, and the answer is pretty simple. It's happiness. But the reasons that I'm going to establish here are also pretty simple. Well, what do you think happens after you die? What do you have left? Nothing. Certainly not material goods. Nothing that you can rely on materially. You probably cannot stick around if you believe in spiritual, transitioning into some other realm. Just leave this world entirely, or reset your life, whatever that may be. We have no idea. We have to take that into account, that we have no idea what our past lives have been, what the spiritual world looks like. We literally are in the position where all life begins, I would say. Where every single time you wake up, you have to begin a new life, basically. You have to reinstate happiness in your life. Because that's the only thing that will bring you sanity and kind of give you purpose in the first place. You almost have to create purpose, and the easiest way to do it is just be happy, be satisfied existing. allow existence to happen, right? Be satisfied to exist. That is really remarkable, by the way. And I'm gonna point it out again. Be satisfied to exist. If you're not satisfied, there's always an exit for existence. There's always ability for power to destroy itself if it is not satisfied. If it feels its own evil, it's capable of self-destructing at any point. So anything that exists right now, you have to understand that if we are in this position, we're probably here to learn what happiness is in many, many different forms and sort of associate with each other. So we understand that happiness comes in different forms and from different sources. Men and women create different kinds of happiness for themselves. Okay. And we're sort of separated from each other. There's no such thing as a family. There's no such thing as friendships and relationships. There's just you. And you create the most happiness for yourself. And you're the only thing that matters for you. It seems so weird, but it's true, because eventually you're just gonna grow out of everything. Out of me, out of your friends and family, whatever you're attached to, material stuff, you're gonna grow out of that eventually. If that's what life is about. Because that seems to be the case. I'm not sure how you can argue with things when your arguments is just gonna disappear when you die. How can you do this? You just have to let the truth manifest at this point. You're not gonna win against death. But happiness seems to be that one thing that justifies existence, as I say. And it has the meaning of life. And I think I don't need to explain anymore what the meaning of life is. There's only a few interesting factors of what happens when you actually understand this, because this is really weird. I'm gonna touch on those aspects, especially when I talk about the difference between men and women. And the feminazis get the fuck off at the zone. The 55, man. That's a good number. 55. Okay, so great. We figure it out, right? We answered a very simple question in an elaborate way. I like that. But I wanted to talk about a completely different subject. I wanted to talk about the complexity of the internet and how to survive this complexity. Now, is it really connected to happiness? Yes, specifically for me, when I'm trying to upload all these videos, I'm not looking for likes or appreciation from people. Obviously, men tend to do that. Men tend to not look for appreciation while they are still training and still building themselves up. They still find things to improve. At some points, like Elliot Rodger felt completely crippled. He didn't know how to improve himself, which is kind of weird. But that's what men tend to do, just improve themselves until they get the results coming for them. But again, this is not an episode about men and women. I'm just saying in my case, it's very similar. I tend to ignore the fact that people don't appreciate me the way I am at the moment. I understand that it's all gonna come later. People will have to discover me. I am doing great work. I can compare myself to other people. I think I'm doing a lot better when it comes to simplifying and cutting through the bullshit that is out there, especially understanding the meaning of life. That's a pretty fucking big deal. Now, obviously, there might be more to it. Of course, there's a lot more. There's a crazy amount of more, and it would be even amplified if we knew what the afterlife is. But somehow we should be able to figure out without knowing that. And I think I just did that. If you can follow, of course. Now, So internet overload. You jump into the internet and you're like overloaded with information. Everyone wants your attention. What do? You came to the internet for a very specific reason. To help yourself be happier. Whatever that may be, whatever puzzle you're trying to solve there. Finding happiness in the internet, yes, you can do that as well. There is content. There is it's different from what I'm doing here. My stuff, yes, it's life fixing, but at the same time you gotta follow through the entire series and understand who I am as a person. I am not unbiased. You have to figure out how to extract value from my type of thinking and how to learn my language, because I'm not gonna speak more than I already am, which is English, right? This is not my common language. It's not my main language. So I got a lot of pressure for that shit, and yet I want to be heard. I want to make sure that I can save my content, right? That is my most biggest priority and why I'm doing this in the first place. I am saving this content. I'm compiling it. I am, first of all, going through a creation and understanding of morality and growing of myself. Like it's a pretty big deal. And I understand everyone is kind of going through the same thing, and the internet is overloaded with these two things. Either people trying to help you and they already found something that will help you, and they have created this beauty to attract everyone in, and they're going to give you, or they're going to scam you, or they're going to give you the real thing that will help you. Most of it is scams, because we don't have really beauty standards. The really beauty isn't supposed to be a standard. All it has to be that will replace beauty eventually are tags. Okay, tags. That's it. You just tag yourself and you immediately create expectations in other people, just like what beauty would do. Now, how do you get to tag yourself? That's a really big question, but I think democracy works. I think we can just elect certain tags to be tagged on certain people, and they get judged by more and more depending on how big the tag is, because it's going to attract more people. I find very annoying pattern in the internet is that people are not very genuine with each other. Women like each other's content to sort of very ungenuine extent. Like they might not really like something, but they like it anyways. I mean, that's really annoying to me. If I want to like someone's content, if I want to press that like or subscribe button, like I want to do it genuinely. I want it to mean something, right? But right now it just means that you just give more popularity to someone, and usually that's where it ends. You just give that person more satisfaction, and it's like the only resource that you can actually feed to him is just likes and subscriptions or whatever. So it's a pretty sad state that we are not capable of sharing more. But again, that's what you have to understand when you come into the internet, is that there are limited things that you can share in here in order to help others. And usually the big guys tend to get bigger simply because a like is such a small thing that you can share. Later on, as the internet progresses, when we get sponsorships for creating special groups, let's say you create a special group and they treat certain corporations or certain products in a very respectful manner, to the point where it creates an enormous amount of benefit for certain corporations to sponsor the content. for the pool of people that you have created. So basically, if you're a YouTuber of like even a small pool of people, but you gain an enormous amount of benefit from sponsorship, and you're capable of sharing that sponsorship to all the people that you have collected as your fans, you might just be satisfied with 1,000 subscribers or something. And in fact, I would think that eventually a lot of big guys are just gonna fall apart and gonna start cleaning their fan base, and you're gonna be actually privileged to even watch their content. I'm not sure how it's gonna evolve, but this is certainly what's gonna happen, that more and more you will be able to, well, accept their products, accept their offers, accept their exclusive deals, and at the same time you're going to be a special person because you watch certain types of videos, you like certain type of content, and you might be a different person because of that. If you watch moral videos, well, you might actually know certain things that other people don't about life that will make you a better person and make you more likable, and that will grant those better deals. And those better deals, they can give you a pretty satisfying life right there. Now, how do we set up life so it's fair for everyone? The first thing that happened that I really can appreciate is that death is no longer an option. You cannot even die if you make a crime. You're just sentenced to jail, and it's really the best we can do. It's good enough, and you can kill yourself, to be honest. You have this freedom, and it's always there as an option, and it's an ugly one, but it's a way to respect death and life. I really appreciate this improvement, let's say, where you don't have power over other people's lives, because that would be catering to luck. I really hate luck when it comes to happiness. Luck is another exposure to why happiness is the meaning of life, is because you can gamble. You can go and gamble on relationships and family. You can attach to certain things, but when they disappear, you just lose, right? But if they consistently stay there with you, you kind of win. But you don't want to gamble, right? You don't want to have like this 1%, somebody dies and your life is completely ruined, and you might just want to kill yourself as well, just because something disappeared from your life that you were so attached to. You must be able to have an enormous amount of skill to where anything changes in your life, it's not going to affect you too much. And some people just lean towards certain sides of, oh, let's make a lot of friends, let's make a lot of money. It's just not a good idea to be overly in one side or the other most of the time. And when people will understand that happiness is the main point, which I can't wait, because people are going to be more fucking generous, and they're going to try and live cheap lives. But at the same time, enriching lives to everyone else. That's what socialism is about, essentially. Is we're so rich, we're so good at understanding how nature works, we figure it out, and we just need to be friendly with each other. That's it. No problem there, right? At some point, money just disappears because it just becomes too mundane, right? It no longer means anything because it's such a high order of things set up. Just like nature itself doesn't really have money. You just need proof of work, which means you actually have to cut down the tree to build a house. Holy shit. Manually. So the last thing on internet overload. Yeah, you have to understand that everyone is creating these profiles. They jump into the internet for the sake of doing the same thing that I'm doing, which is storing their happiness. It's literally it. You just store your happiness. And I would encourage people to store everything. Never delete anything, because that will be a fucking disaster. Anything you delete is going to stab you in the back later on when you want to be nostalgic about stuff. So remembering things is also a very big deal. I'm not sure how I'm going to organize all of this stuff, but it's really my utmost goal is to just bring up everything that I've experienced so far and everything that I'm experiencing right now. It's really accumulating really quickly. My challenge is just to catch up, store all the stories. Everyone is doing it, to be honest. Mostly animators, right? You can see that trend. They're telling their stories constantly, and they get successful because, again, they put that beautiful facade. Because it's great to make animations, make money out of this, but everyone cannot just do that. Things will get a lot more expensive if the only thing we're gonna be concerned about is just how to create an animation business. Like, holy shit, this gets pretty annoying pretty quickly when everyone is focused on that one thing. But again, just like feminism, in the next video I'm gonna explain, you will find a lot more happiness when there's a lot less competition. So if food gets more expensive, you'll actually be happier working in food factories. Congratulations. I mean, there's nothing that really is going to destroy the system. The system sort of seems to be stable in so many ways, and it's somewhat mysterious, but I'm starting to understand that there is a higher order. There's just a few nuances that we need to go through, and that's what I'm doing. Alright guys, thanks for watching.